infrastructure has to work, and sometimes it didn't, it didn't. So you can't be blamed for those kind of things that went wrong, that even, it's out of your control. But you can, I suppose, you can plan for the eventualities, like you plan your sessions to be more inclusive, to put people, working in groups and to get feedback, because I'm not just as, to be so in that way. So I suppose explanation you have to do, and it's not to be going down cul-de-sacs. It's being very, very focused. What is it that you are claiming, and how, and give them that explanation, and it's narrowing it down, because yes, while it's very important to have the rationale, not to have it so heavy that you're nearly taking away from what is it that you're actually trying to say, and get them. Now, that does take time and a lot of reflection and refinement of well-chosen words.
Think through it all yourself, so that you can actually then help others. So it's, your own learning, and then how you're sharing that learning with others, so you're making that knowledge explicit and then helping others to understand. So it is an ideal example, and then taking the good things from the webinar back into your classroom, I suppose, as well. So there is that cyclical.
I think a web or a video of you doing teaching would be a great idea, Marion. You're very inspiring.
That would be inspiring time
Often teachers aren't doing it, and you said that it's more or less just excuses, and it's something you might have to be careful with that, because I know some of the excuses are actually legitimate for a lot of teachers, and if you put it to them across that way as this is what you should be doing, but you just it's an excuse, then there's no ways they'll start doing it.
That's about people's beliefs that we're wanting them to change, and of course they're very deep. So we need to work alongside and with people, not tell them they have to change. And one of the problems in education, particularly in schools, is a sort of deficit view of teachers. And that's coming, of course, from the top, that somehow there's something wrong that they have to change. That's usually not going to get the outcomes we're seeking. What I saw come through this presentation, but all of the presentations, the passion. Because despite the systems and everything else, that passion does make a difference. I also thought it was good, and again, I think it's a point for everyone to bear in mind, the theories are just tools. They're not representations of truth, or we could have deep arguments about that, but it's treated at that level. So they're just tools to reflect with and the structure things. And so the fact that at one point you said, I went with what I believed, well, that isn't a bad thing at all, because one of the things about postgraduate study is taking the tools, taking the research, taking the theories, and moving from being a consumer to being a producer. And that's what you're doing with your reports or theses now, is thinking that you can now make a contribution, not just descriptively reporting back and using other people's tools, but where's the opportunity for you to introduce something that can add to the literature, add to other people's thinking, because otherwise the study you've done is just a small study for you. You want others to actually learn from it. So it comes with time, but to realise that you're making a contribution.
Yeah, and I think after through the course that you'll come to realise, we keep talking about Schoen and the idea of an epistemology of practice. And that whole idea of an epistemology of practice is exactly that you are now capable of contributing to the knowledge base of practice. You're drawing on those theories, but you are now creating your own theory in your practice, and that's what you look back now and realise that in terms of what's being done.
And you're having real impact, you should never even doubt the fact, anybody should never even doubt that you're having real life, and almost be grateful, because we should be grateful to hear everybody else's stories, to have an opportunity to get an insight into everybody's lives, just to find out exactly, it's a privilege to be able to hear how you've influenced change, or are influencing change in your own lives, and to be proud of that. Not to be boastful of it, but just to be in a small way, humble. You're making a humble change. And